The most revealing moments in royal history are almost never announced with fanfare. There are no trumpets, no dramatic declarations, no carefully staged statements from palace aides. Instead, they unfold quietly, often in plain sight, waiting for people to notice. A glance that lingers too long. A space that feels unexpectedly empty. A photograph that captures more than it was ever meant to. And this year, one of those moments appeared on the Buckingham Palace balcony. What should have been a powerful image of continuity and stability instead felt like something else entirely, a subtle, unmistakable reminder of just how fragile the institution has quietly become. There were fewer people standing there, less movement, less energy. The balcony, once crowded with a wide cast of royals representing different generations and roles, now looked carefully managed, almost sparse. And in that silence between the smiles and the waves, a deeper reality was visible. The British monarchy, once overrepresented to the point of excess, is now running on a remarkably thin bench. King Charles is trying to steer an institution that is running out of hands, running out of stamina, and running out of time. The monarchy has always depended on visibility for its survival. Not just symbolic visibility, but physical presence. Royal duties, walkabouts, hospital visits, charity engagements, overseas tours. These aren't just ceremonial. They are how the monarchy justifies its relevance in a democratic society. They are the bridge between inherited privilege and public acceptance. But in recent years, that bridge has been stretched to breaking point. A shrinking group of working royals is now expected to maintain a level of output that once required dozens of people. No matter how dedicated they are, no matter how hard-working, human limits eventually apply. This is not a failure of character. It is a failure of structure. When a small number of people are responsible for hundreds of public engagements, when they are constantly travelling, constantly performing, constantly visible, exhaustion becomes inevitable. So do cancellations. So do cracks. What makes this situation even more striking is who is actually carrying the weight. Several of the monarchy's most reliable figures are in their later years. Princess Anne continues to show up again and again with extraordinary consistency. Her schedule would be demanding for someone decades younger. King Charles himself has maintained an exhausting pace despite facing serious health challenges. Their dedication is admirable, but it is also a warning sign. Institutions cannot be held together indefinitely by sheer willpower. Meanwhile, William and Catherine are widely described as the future of the monarchy. But in reality, they are navigating a very different phase of life. They are raising young children. They are under intense public scrutiny. And they have made it clear that they want to approach royal life in a more balanced, humane way. That is not weakness, it is evolution. But it also means their capacity is limited. And when there is no strong middle generation to take the pressure off, the system becomes dangerously top-heavy. This fragility becomes especially visible whenever illness, stress, or personal crisis enters the picture. Engagements quietly disappear from the calendar. Tours are postponed. Public appearances are reduced. Charities and community organisations feel the loss immediately. These aren't just photo opportunities, they are relationships. And when they suddenly stop, the absence is felt. This is where Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex inevitably come into the story. Not as a fantasy of what might have been, but as a clear example of what was lost. When Harry and Meghan were working royals, they brought something that the institution desperately needed: global reach, emotional intelligence, and modern relevance. Their engagements connected across borders, cultures, and generations. They spoke to people who had never felt seen by the monarchy before. They did not just represent the crown, they humanized it. But instead of being supported, their energy was treated as a problem. Their popularity became a threat. Their openness was labeled dangerous. The very qualities that made them effective were turned against them. And so their decision to step away was not a rejection of service, it was a refusal to be consumed by a system that demanded everything and offered protection in return. What is remarkable is what happened next. Harry and Meghan did not disappear. They did not retreat from public life. They built something new. Outside royal constraints, they have continued to advocate for mental health, veterans, women, and humanitarian causes. They have spoken openly about trauma, media pressure, and emotional well-being in a way that resonates with millions. They did not lose their influence, they expanded it. And that creates an uncomfortable contrast for the monarchy. While it struggles to maintain relevance with fewer and fewer working royals, two former members are demonstrating what modern service can look like when it is driven by authenticity instead of hierarchy. The monarchy attempted to streamline itself in order to appear controlled and efficient. But in doing so, it sacrificed adaptability. It lost voices. It lost cultural connection. It made itself smaller at precisely the moment the world was becoming more diverse and more demanding. The younger generation of royals will eventually step forward, but not for many years. And that gap is where the institution is most vulnerable. Tradition alone cannot carry it through. Something has to change. Harry and Meghan's story suggests a different model, one where service does not require self-destruction, where public work and personal dignity are not in conflict. Their journey shows that stepping away from a rigid system does not mean abandoning purpose. It can mean finding it more clearly. What we are witnessing now is not a dramatic collapse. It is a slow reckoning. Institutions don't fall apart overnight. They erode quietly through missed chances and unresolved tensions. The palace balconies will still shine, the ceremonies will still be staged, but the real questions are growing louder underneath. Who carries the future? What does service really mean? And how long can tradition survive without adaptation? These are the conversations we have here on the Sussex Insights. If you've enjoyed this deep dive and value thoughtful, independent analysis of Harry and Meghan's journey and the changing royal landscape, make sure you subscribe to the Sussex Insights so you never miss an episode. Share your thoughts in the comments. Did the monarchy underestimate what it lost when Harry and Meghan walked away? And where do you think this story is heading next? Thank you for watching, thank you for supporting the channel, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Sussex Insights.